Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris Man, and as always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. I'm going to entitle this video A Serious Matter. Because from time to time, I discuss things on my channel that's not music related, because I think they're really important. And I was going through some of my old VHS tapes, and I pulled out a movie that I seen about maybe almost 20 years ago. And the movie blew me away. And I remember after watching the movie, I said this to myself: that is without a doubt one of the best movies I've ever seen in my entire life. And when I was able to track down the DVD, because they had it on VHS, and on the front they have these, I guess, endorsements from these movie critics. And right here on the top it says one of the best movies I've ever seen. And I kid you not, I said that in my mind before I seen it on here. I totally agree. And the movie is called 1 Week. I urge everybody to get a copy of this if they can find it. You know, tell your friends about this movie. This movie came out, I think, almost 20 years ago. And the subject line that they tackled at the time, it's one of those subjects where you got to have a lot of courage and balls to do this, because when it comes to things that are really bad and tragic, we have the tendency to shy away from it and don't want to discuss them. You know, figure out out of sight, out of mind. It doesn't exist, you know. And unfortunately, it does. And I'm not going to tell you the ending, because I'm not going to spoil it. But I do feel it's important to talk to you about the content or the storyline, because it's so important. It's about HIV and AIDS. It's about how most of us can contract it, because there are many ways, or sure I say a couple of ways. One is through blood transfusion, tainted blood, and another one's through sexual contact. And like I said, I watched this movie, just blew me away. And it's one of those movies where you hope, again, everybody can see this movie. You know, it has a modest budget, but it's not about how much money a movie can spend on itself. It's about the quality of the work, meaning the storyline, meaning the actors, because one of my all-time favorite TV shows was The Honeymooners, and that usually just consisted of 4 people in one room. That's it. They weren't on location, and, you know, different visual. They were in one room in Ralph's 1-bedroom apartment, and a dialogue, and that was it. It's like, this is all they need. When you got something good, you don't have to, you know, put a whole bunch of stuff on top to make it look more appealing. I'm like, strip it down to its bare minimum, like you still got good product. And again, they touch on a very sensitive subject, because I remember when AIDS first came out, or they kind of acknowledged it was somewhere like maybe in the late 80s. Everybody was afraid. Said, man, just by having sex I could die. You know, because worst case scenario back in the day, you know, you get the burning sensation, you go get a shot or take some pills, and you back out there in a couple of weeks. You know, but AIDS and HIV ain't no joke. And they said that within your lifetime, you're going to at least know at least 20 people that have passed away from this dreaded disease. If I died tomorrow, I've already exceeded the 20 people that I know that died as a result of this dreaded disease. And I'm just going to share 2 personal stories. The first person that I knew, we went to high school together, really nice guy. He was one of those guys that everybody knew he was going to make something of himself. They're just some people from day one, you know, that they have been going to have greatness in their life. You just know that, you know, just by the way that they treat other people, their intellect, their insight. And of course, there's some people, you know, ain't going to be shit. You know, when you first meet him, he ain't going to never be nothing. He's going to end up dead or in jail, you know. And this one particular guy, everybody know, you know, he's going to go to college, get a great job, make a big impact on life, and then leave here. But unfortunately, he went to college. And for some people, that's when you really start to enjoy sexual freedom. You're away from home, and you ain't sneaking nobody in your house, because you got your own little place. You can do whatever you want. And unfortunately, you know, he did that. And he died about maybe a year later. And another person that's very personal to me, one of the bands I was in, one of the first bands I was in. And what was so special about this particular band, because I had a vision of what band, the kind of band I wanted to be in. It was kind of like the time where we dressed, sharp as a razor, and we got move dance steps, and we can sing and play our hearts out. And I was fortunate enough to be recruited in one of those bands, because the bass player seen me at Guitar Center. He said, man, you play pretty good. He said, are you playing anybody? I'm like, no, I'm just, playing. So he said, come on down to one of our rehearsals, man, and tell me what you think. So I went, I was like, yeah, I want to be a part of this, because they had 3 good looking dudes that could sing, can dance, while the best of the rest of us, did the instrumentation. In our very first show, I remember that, and I'll never forget this. I was driving down the street. I was like on 61st and Wentworth in Chicago. I was on my way to the junkyard to get a part for my car, and I had the radio on, and the announcer came over the radio and said, tonight at I forgot what venue we played, and we were opening up for a big name act in Chicago at the time. His name was Sax Preacher. He's a hell of a saxophone. He was like the next Grover Washington, and they said an opening up for them, and they gave our name. And I was like, man, we're on the radio. So we did the show. We did a good job. And from that day, that first show, we had people coming up to us that had record labels, and it's like, man, we want to sign y'all guys, and things of that nature. And we were in the process of signing the deal, a pretty lucrative deal, actually for that time. But they seen our potential, and we were quite excited about it. We were playing all around Chicago and the suburbs, and one of the 3 singers started to get sick, and the lead singer was closest to him, and we were all pretty close, but the lead singer was closer to him, and we just kind of noticed that he was getting sick. He was just having issues. He said he couldn't breathe, and he said that he had bronchitis. He had lost a lot of weight. The very last show we played, which was like on 89th and Ashland, it's this big nightclub, and I never forget it, because I tried to tape every performance that I've ever done. Sometimes I couldn't get a camera in, I just didn't have time, but that one I did. And it's the only one that after viewing it, I discarded and I threw it away because I couldn't stand to watch it. Our singer had dwindled down to like 100 pounds. He was so weak that doing that performance, he had to do his parts because he was co-lead singer from in the audience sitting in a chair. He was that weak. We had a cordless mic for him, and he sang his part. And about maybe 2 weeks after that performance, he passed away. And we didn't know what was going on, and it's like, well, what's going on? What happened? I thought he had, I don't know what he had, and they said he had pneumonia. And about maybe 2 weeks after the funeral, the lead singer came to me, and he said that his mother shared with him what happened to him. He died of AIDS. He had contracted AIDS through sexual contact. And that was during a period where we were young, fit, good looking, and talented. So if you were one of those dudes that took every offer that was offered to you, and some of those guys did, me personally, I just wasn't like that, because I'm like, I want somebody to be into me because they into me, not because of what they see me doing on the stage, or, everybody knows him, none of that stuff. That just never did anything for me. So I was quite lucky that I didn't take all these offers, because I'm like, all this is just transparent anyway. These people don't care about you. You just know that everybody know you, and they want to be around people that know everybody, people that everybody knows, So he passed away. And what a lot of people don't realize, when someone passes away from that dreaded disease, that especially if they got it through sexual contact, most likely, if they're out there like that, they've passed it on to other people. And he had a girlfriend, she was like family to us. And she was kind of a heavy-set woman, and a year later she died. She lost a lot of weight. She passed away because, unfortunately, he passed it on to her. AIDS ain't no joke. HIV ain't no joke, We got to be careful, because I grew up in the era where the man was the aggressor. The man was the one in the relationship, or between the two, that didn't want to commit, because it's like, it's a whole bunch of booty out there, and I want as much of it as I can get, And women, for the most part, was trying to get these men that they care about to commit to them and only them. That was the thing of the day when I was growing up in the 70s. And that's how it was when my father was growing up in the 50s, and so on and so forth. Now, from what I've heard, because there's this guy, I kind of take him under my wing like I'm his father. He's 19. He does line work for me, and he's going through some stuff. And I'm like, I do my best to help you, man, because he didn't have a phone. I put him on my phone plan because I'm like, we're trying to get you a good job, and in order to do that, you got to have a phone so these people can contact you. So I gave him the phone. And he was quite appreciative because he said, my father's somewhere and my mother's somewhere and I'm living here with grandparents and, I'm struggling. I'll see him out there raking leaves, trying to make a little money, but he don't have a steady job. So, again, I tried to take him under my wing and try to help him. And we've had these discussions because he feels like I feel like he's a son to me because I'm the older guy trying to show you the things of life and trying to help you and put you in the right direction, which is unfortunately the people that are responsible for doing that are not doing it. So we had these conversations and he feels comfortable with me discussing his personal life as far as this girl that he's in love with. He's 19, she's 17. And he said that, I fell for her, from day one. And she told me this. Don't get serious because I'm not serious about you. We can kick it. And he's more or less the side piece. It's the term they call, today. And the guy she's dating is 37 years old. It's like, damn, that's messed up. And I said, man, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but that's a dead end, man. You need to leave that alone before you really get your heart broke. And he was saying how, again, she's out there like that. And I'm like, when I was growing up, there was probably 1% of the women that are out there were like that. And it was very rare that you ran into those women. It was usually the women that cared about you and want to commit to you and wanted you to commit to them. So unfortunately, it's a whole new ball game of dating out there. Everybody now doesn't want to commit to nobody. Everybody's in everybody's bed. And it's like, young folks, be very careful because now there's a disease out there that'll take you out. It's no longer just syphilis and gonorrhea and the claps. You can go get that taken care of with medication and pills. And again, 3-4 days, you back out there. But when you're dealing with HIV and AIDS, it ain't no joke. And I encourage everybody because after watching the VHS, I said, I got to find me a DVD copy of this because when I first bought it, it was in VHS and the quality is real grainy. So I found a copy. So I went on eBay after I found this one copy. I said, you know what? I'm going to try to find as many copies as I can. And I found 3 more copies. And I'm still looking because I want to give the first 3 people that are interested in watching this movie, talking about this movie, and sharing this movie with other people, because this movie is very important. I just watched the movie yesterday because I'm a movie buff. I love movies. Matter of fact, my first passion before I ever picked up a guitar was to act. I was like, I love what they do, and I want to be one of those people to do what they do. But acting in the entertainment business within itself is just extremely competitive. So I'm going to leave the acting thing alone, because chances of me ever doing that on any kind of level probably ain't going to happen. So, I rate the Mike choice as far as music as opposed to acting. But it's a great movie. It's well acted because to me, the mark of a good actor is you believe the character that he's portraying. You don't see him as a different person just reading a line or a script. You look at them, if they're good actors or actresses, as they're these people. It's like they've sold me because I believe that these are these people. This movie was well written, well acted, well directed. Even again with the modest budget, that was not a big deal. It didn't have any effect on the quality of the product. Because again, I watched the movie yesterday with a big name actor, and I'm not going to mention his name. It was a big budget movie, but it was weak. I mean, the storyline was weak. The characters were not believable. And it's like, well, sometimes you just got to work to eat. It's like, and there's some projects that actors take just to eat. And I was like, I understand that. I ain't mad at you. But I'm looking at that movie that took millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to make versus this movie, which was extremely low budgeted. It was filmed in Chicago. The 2 guys that actually wrote this movie, It's a Small World, I worked with a guy in corporate America that went to film school with these 2 guys, and he's actually a pretty good film director and writer and producer of movies himself in his own right. And he said, yeah, these guys are great. And I said, yeah, man, because I had told him about this movie, and he's like, man, hardly nobody know about that movie. I'm like, unfortunately, you're right. Because how I found out about this movie, I went to Blockbusters, and this was back in the day on a Friday after you get off work, you take your family to Blockbusters, y'all pick out movies. And I used to go so regularly that just about every movie in the place I have seen, and the ones that I didn't want to see. And I said, you know what? I seen this sitting up on the shelf. I said, man, it's only about $7, so why not? So I bought it, and it blew me away. Out of, I say, all the movies I've ever seen, if I had to rate one movie that was important, again, just a overall great movie, I would have to say this is number one. This is number one. Because again, it deals with a subject that really nobody wants to deal with because they're afraid to deal with that subject. And they did this subject with a lot of respect and integrity, and they did the topic or the storyline justice. Because again, anybody can contract that. Nobody's exempt from certain things, because a lot of us think that'll never happen to me. And it's like, well, if you kind of in a situation where it's possible, because one thing is people can say, well, I'm not out there like that sexually. Matter of fact, I'm not even having sex because I'm not in a relationship. What about transfusions? You driving down the street one day, man, you're busy, you're in a car accident, you need blood. They give you a blood transfusion. So nobody in most cases are exempt from experiencing certain things. But again, I got 3 more of these, and the first 3 people that sent me an email, my email address, and said, man, I want to check that movie out, I'll send you a copy for free, because it's just that important that people need to know about this movie. I mean, I hope that some big producer or big movie company run across this movie and say, you know what, we're going to redo this because this needs to get out there. I mean, this movie is so good that it should just be remastered and redistributed as is, because the guys and the women that was in this movie did a great job. I mean, they did a fantastic job of acting. You believe the characters. You believe the storyline. Everything that I seen in there made sense. Because I mean, sometimes you don't want to overthink certain movies, because it's like, well, it's just a movie, and don't really put that much merit into it as far as it's supposed to be 100% accurate or 100% logical. Because it's like I told you, the big budget movie that I seen yesterday, the main character wife, it was a scene in there, she had broken her leg, and the bad guys came in, and she was able to kill one of those guys with a broken leg. And it's like, okay, how believable is that? But, I'm going to sign off now. But again, this movie is just, let me read this off because I don't think I did. Well acted, moving, suspenseful, and relevant. Profound and entertaining. It's one of those life-altering movies. I totally agree. This is work with the courage of its convictions. If ever there were a must-see movie, 1 week is it. And then it also won an award, the grand prize winner of the Urban Wood Film Festival. There's another one, Film of the Year. This movie is it's dynamite. Like I told you all, I got 3 more of these. And the first 3 people to say, hey, Morris, man, I definitely want to check that out. And thanks for giving it to me for free. I'll send you a copy, and I'll send it off Monday morning with tracking. So until next time, take care, and thanks for watching.